Here's the truth nobody in charge of women's basketball wants you to notice. The league only has one player who can actually pull a crowd to the television, and she just walked away from their biggest weekend of the year. Caitlin Clark, the single athlete in this entire league who reliably pulls in over 1 million viewers, turned down her spot in the All-Star three-point shootout. And instead of addressing it, the league office went completely silent. For 3 straight years, Clark has taken hit after hit. Disrespect, cheap shots, and constant downplaying from the very same people who cash checks because of her popularity. And through all of it, the commissioner and the network executives just stood by and let it happen. That chapter is officially closed. Clark just made one of the sharpest, most calculated moves of her career, and the power balance in this league just flipped upside down. Let's get into the biggest story women's basketball is trying to bury. The moment Caitlin Clark basically told the league office exactly what to do with their All-Star weekend. Before we get to the numbers that prove she's the only reason this league is watchable on TV, and before we get into the ratings disaster that's about to hit this weekend's broadcast, you need the full picture, the part nobody on air wants to spell out. The league recently put out a press release bragging about Clark's ratings numbers. But hidden inside that so-called celebration is one of the most revealing admissions a sports organization has ever made about itself. Here's the piece they'll never say on air. Last Saturday, Clark and the Indiana Fever played a nationally televised game, too. 6 million people tuned in. Second highest audience in 26 years of this league's existence. 26 years. Only one other broadcast in the entire history of the league has ever pulled a bigger crowd than Clark did on an ordinary Saturday. Now here's the part that should genuinely worry every executive who's spent 3 years insisting this league is loaded with stars. A couple weeks back, a supposedly can't-miss matchup between 2 other teams aired on national TV. It was hyped up as the game of the year. Final number: just under 954,000 viewers. Not even close to 1 million. And that game featured names the media has been trying to sell as superstars for years. The league typically pulls around 439,000 viewers on its streaming broadcasts this season, on average. But one specific broadcast, featuring one of these so-called other stars, drew just 313,000 viewers. Not even close to the average. A player the media has spent 2 years hyping as a generational talent, and barely 1/3 of 1 million people cared enough to watch. You already see where this is heading. Most of this league could not draw a crowd if their lives depended on it. Clark isn't just the top draw. She's the only draw. She's the one player who makes people stop scrolling their phones and actually watch a game. And for 3 years, the organizations that depend on her completely for mainstream relevance have treated her like an afterthought. Whether it's fellow players taking shots at her on the floor, or the commissioner staying silent when she gets hammered with a hard foul on national TV, or the endless parade of commentators pretending she isn't the whole show. They all played a part in building the environment that led to yesterday. And yesterday, Clark finally used the one card she's been holding on to. The headline broke everywhere. Clark declines her invite to the three-point contest. And the fallout from that single decision is about to reveal everything the league has been trying to hide. This weekend, the league heads to Chicago for All-Star festivities. The yearly event where a bunch of unfamiliar faces try to look like stars while the audience at home googles who half of them even are. Even though this weekend is basically a glorified exhibition, and even though this league runs at a financial loss every single year, propped up by the men's league, this is still supposed to be their moment. A chance to prove there's talent beyond just one name. A chance to build a moment fans actually remember. But to pull that off, you need your best players showing up. And unfortunately for the commissioner, for the network, and for everyone who spent years insisting the league doesn't need Clark, the one player who actually matters just opted out completely. Sit with that for a second. The only player capable of pulling 6 million eyeballs on a random Saturday looked at the league's marquee weekend event and said, "No thanks." Why would the best shooter on the roster, coming off one of the biggest TV numbers in league history, skip a shooting contest that would obviously boost ratings? Why would she pass up a chance to hand the network exactly what it's desperate for, an audience? Maybe, just maybe, she's done showing up for people who've spent 3 years treating her like she doesn't matter. Maybe this is her way of saying, since you don't appreciate what I bring, since you stay silent when I get hurt on camera, I'll sit this one out. Let's see how the ratings look without me. Naturally, the league scrambled for a plan B. And the replacement roster they announced for the shooting contest is honestly one of the most damning pieces of evidence yet that this league is in serious trouble. Take a look at who's actually competing Friday night. I'm not exaggerating. These names might as well be printed on the back of a milk carton. I think I saw one of them on a missing persons flyer last week. Last seen shooting 32% from deep at a small gym somewhere. If found, please contact someone who cares. Now, in fairness, the league didn't exactly have a deep bench of options to pull from. I doubt the network's first choices were any of these unfamiliar names. They almost certainly wanted Sabrina Ionescu. They almost certainly wanted Sophie Cunningham. But Sabrina turned it down too, and as far as anyone knows, Cunningham wasn't even invited. And that's baffling, because Cunningham is shooting nearly 44% from three this season. For comparison, Steph Curry, the greatest shooter to ever play basketball, shoots 42% from deep over his entire career. So somebody explain how a player out shooting Steph Curry didn't even get a phone call. She's statistically elite, she's got a massive following, she moves the needle, and she got left off the list entirely. You want to actually boost ratings for this contest? Throw Angel Reese into the mix. She won't make a single shot. She's shooting under 20% from three, but at least it'll be entertaining watching the air balls fly into the front row. To be fair, this isn't a problem unique to women's basketball. Every league deals with stars skipping their all-star showcase. NBA players routinely dodge the dunk contest and coast through the actual game. In football, interest in the all-star game got so thin that a backup quarterback made the roster essentially by default because nobody else wanted the spot. But here's the massive difference. Those leagues are already established. Their all-star weekends are basically corporate photo ops. Sponsors show up, merchandise sells, and the actual competitive stakes don't matter because those leagues are printing billions in revenue regardless. They can afford a boring weekend. This league cannot. This is a business that loses money every year and survives on a subsidy from the men's league just to keep operating. There is zero room to waste a moment that could have generated buzz, highlights, and new fans. Clark going head-to-head in a marquee shooting contest on national television. That's the kind of moment that builds a following. Instead, it's gone. And honestly, I don't blame her for skipping it. Think about the risk-reward here. If she wins, critics say it's proof of favoritism, that the league is bending over backwards for her. If she loses, they say she's overrated, that she folds under pressure against nobodies. There's no upside for her. Her showing up would be a favor to the league, not the other way around. And maybe she'd be willing to do that favor if the league had spent the last 3 years showing her an ounce of respect. But they didn't. They chose to diminish her. And now she's letting them find out what happens without her. So here's your chance, league office, prove the doubters wrong. Run this contest with a roster full of unfamiliar names, and let's see what the numbers say. My guess, an embarrassing, undeniable flop. And when those numbers come in lower than anything Clark has ever delivered solo, everyone who spent years claiming this league doesn't need her needs to come back and explain themselves. Now let me lay out exactly what happens from here, because I've been tracking this pattern for months and the trajectory is locked in. 5 predictions. Save this, come back in 2 weeks, and hold me accountable either way. 1. The 3-point contest pulls under 600,000 viewers. That's my ceiling, not my floor. It could dip toward 500,000. And the network will quietly bury that number instead of promoting it. 2. Within 72 hours of the weekend wrapping up, Clark or her camp releases a carefully worded statement. Polite, professional, but unmistakably clear. She's done being treated as an afterthought by the league she's carrying. 3. By the end of the month, the commissioner gets cornered into addressing this publicly, tries to spin it as rest or load management, and gets torn apart by reporters who no longer buy the excuse. 4. Within a month, the network quietly ramps up Clark-focused coverage even further because they'll finally admit, behind closed doors, that she's the only thing keeping their broadcast deal profitable. 5. The Indiana Fever make the playoffs, and their first-round series outdraws every other playoff matchup in league history, and it won't even be close. 5 predictions. I'm staking my credibility on all of them. Save this, come back, let's see who's right. And here's the piece nobody wants to say out loud. Clark isn't just the best player or the biggest draw. She's the only one in this entire league holding real leverage. The kind of leverage that lets you skip the biggest weekend of the year and force the whole organization to scramble. And using that leverage, looking the people in charge dead in the eye and saying no, that's the biggest shift in power this league has seen in its entire history. For 3 years, she absorbed it all quietly. She let her game speak. But not anymore. She pushed back, and the league has no playbook for handling a player with this much actual power, because they built their entire model assuming no single player could ever be this important. So here's what's coming. A ratings disaster this weekend. A 3-point contest nobody watches. A league scrambling to spin the numbers. And at the end of it all, Clark remains the only player who can single-handedly deliver millions of eyeballs on a random Saturday. The gap doesn't close. It just gets more obvious. Now here's what I want from you. Drop your honest take below. Was she right to skip this after 3 years of disrespect, or should she have shown up anyway for the sake of growing the league? Pick a side and defend it. And save this moment. I just predicted under 600,000 viewers for that contest. Come back Monday and tell me if I nailed it or if I need to eat my words. Tag the one friend who keeps insisting this league has other stars and make them explain how the ratings hold up this weekend without her. I'll wait. Because tomorrow, we're breaking down the Fever's playoff run and why Clark is about to deliver the most watched postseason series this league has ever produced. Don't miss it. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you in the next one.